Hey, house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 22 updates and spoilers. What's good today? Um, I don't know. It's been an okay day. Anyway, our house guests of the day are Thomas Milligan and Chris Phelps. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so, so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Yay! And I also want to thank our super chatters from yesterday. You guys are also awesome. We've got Jody Cortez, Thrifty Babes, Smouth Dude Smooth, Maricela Castellanos, Richard Fleming, Everything Horror, Treval K, Tara Perucci, Estine, Jefferson Tucker, Nancy Cowden, Amanda Kenny, Hoth One, The Real VB, and M. Murray COJ. Thank you all so much. And thank you again, Jefferson Tucker. Amazing. We really, really appreciate it. So anyway, yesterday was a lot. Yesterday was a lot. If you guys did not watch yesterday's spoiler yet, definitely check that one out at some point because there was a lot discussed. A lot happened. We're going to move on now because there are other things happening now. So when we left off yesterday, it was the morning after the big argument with Christmas, Davon, and Bailey. So after that, Christmas was still explaining to people why she nominated Day and Bay. And let's keep in mind, this is 4 days after nominations. If you're still explaining why you put them up on the block, it's probably not a good sign. But she was going through her whole, Davon is Bailey's untouchable, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so then Dani and Nicole were chatting in the lounge. And Nicole says, I just want to hide out for the rest of the week. And it made me chuckle a little bit because when Nicole said this, she was kind of looking like a turtle that has retreated into its shell. Because keep in mind, she has her punishment costume this week. It's like a giant cereal box, and when she sits down or she's laying down and she's still wearing the cereal box, her head kind of like disappears into it and she looked like a turtle. So that amused me. But anyway, she says she does not want to get dragged into drama. She does not want to pick sides in this situation. So then Dani's like, okay, rough transition here. She says David is getting really close to the guys. He stayed up like all night with them. We got to keep an eye on that. We have to really watch the guys. She says, I'm not freaking here to be taken out by a freaking frat. Little light for that. Right? Okay, so anyway, she says we only have 4 of us left after this week, obviously. 4 women left. So they don't want to just get picked off by the guys. Probably should have thought about that before. So Dani says she's not even sure who her target would be if she won HOH. Now she's kind of like squashed things with Tyler, so she's not really looking at him as a target anymore. So she's like, Kevin, David, Ian, I don't know. Nicole says if she wins HOH, she would follow through, like she said, and put up 2 guys, but she says it would be really weird. She said she wants Kevin out, but she doesn't know who she would put up next to him, and she's not sure who her new target would be if Kevin were to win the power of veto. So Dani's like, well, would you ever try to backdoor Tyler just to get a good player out? I feel like Dani is already back to planting seeds. Like she's saying, I'm not going to go after Tyler, but she's like, would you? So Nicole says, probably not. Probably not, because Cody would be pissed about it. And Dani's like, well, who else then? There's nobody else. There's like, what, 11 people left? Is it? Wait, where are we? 12 or 11. I don't even freaking know anymore. There's a lot of people left, okay? That's what happens when you're aligned with like the whole entire house. So then Day and Dani a little bit later were chatting in the bathroom area, and they're talking about the Tyler situation, and Day says, honestly, like I thought that Tyler was lying about wanting to leave until he brought up the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, that made me feel like he was going to do it because who would use that for gameplay? And Dani agrees, like, yeah, that would be disgusting, literally disgusting. So Dani says she felt like Tyler was being sincere because she had a talk with him. He owned up to trying to pit Dani against Bailey and Devon and vice versa. And she's like, yeah, he told me that he's going to tell everyone that he was lying about me targeting you. But like, she really was targeting them. But anyway, Day says, oh boy. Okay. She says, I'm on the block right now, so this cannot get around the house. And Dani's like, I swear. She swears it won't. They pinky swear. And Day says, okay, so Tyler talked to me and Bailey again, and he told us that he was not lying about you wanting to get us out. It was true. So Dani's like, I swear on everything, and you'll see when you watch this. She does that a lot, and it's a lie. But Dani says, you know what? Tyler can go. I guess she's targeting him again now. That didn't last for very long. So then Day is talking about her argument with Christmas, and she was like, I was watching people while I was arguing with Christmas. And all the guys, I felt like they were just watching this go down and thinking, yes, they're going to take each other out. Like, this is perfect. So she's not down for that. And Dani says, well, the next HOH is probably going to be endurance. They're all thinking that because the backyard closed so early this week. So Dani says, if it's going to be endurance, like, let's do it. She figures one of the women will win. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. You got like Tyler and Cody. I don't know. So I feel like in the last few seasons, more and more men have been starting to win the wall competition. But anyway, Day says if she wins HOH, that Dani and Nicole will be good. They don't have to worry. And Dani says, same here if I win. I would love to believe that this is real and that they're not going to go after each other. But Dani did already spill about the girls' alliance to Cody. So I don't know how legit that is. So anyway, later, Christmas, Cody, and Memphis. Who's Memphis? I feel like I haven't mentioned Memphis in one of these spoilers in like weeks. But anyway, the three of them are in the HOH room for a little strategy sesh. And Memphis says, okay, there are 5 people left that are outside of our 6-person alliance, meaning the committee. So those 5 people are Enzo, Kevin, David, Ian, and Day. So like already saying Bailey's going this week, moving on to next week. Those are the 5 people that are going to be outside of our alliance. So Memphis says, looking at this group, like I think we can all agree that we want to keep Enzo around at least for our entertainment. So they're like, yeah, of course. Christmas says he's a valuable player. She likes him a lot. And he's a friendly to the majority of their alliance. So it's good to keep him around for a while. So then they're talking about how they all want to make sure they're on the same page because a lot of people are also speculating that it's going to be a double eviction this week. I feel like we would have heard about that last week, but the Houseguests all think that it's going to happen. So of course, when they have a double eviction, there isn't a lot of time to talk to everybody. So they want to make sure that their plans are set just in case. So Christmas says, we just can't cannibalize our own alliance. We just got to put up people that are in that group outside of our group. So they agree the best thing to do would just be to put up their 2 biggest targets. And if one comes down with the power veto, vote out the other person. Don't go for the replacement nominee. Then they don't even have to talk about it. They don't have to be like, who am I voting out? So then Nicole joins them. They tell her the plan for the double eviction and they expand on it a little bit. They're now saying like your number 1 target should be the first one that you name when you make your nominations. Because again, we won't have to talk about it and we'll know what we're supposed to be doing. So then Memphis says, no, I skipped ahead. So then they're talking about how they feel like the rest of the house is like right on the verge of figuring out that they're all working together, right? So they're going to need to be extra careful moving forward. It's going to be out in the open. They're going to need to like win all these competitions and just, keep picking off people that aren't in their group. So Memphis says, if Devon stays, somebody needs to get in her ear because obviously if she wins HOH, she's probably going to put up 2 people from their group. So he's like, somebody needs to go talk to her and tell her okay, I can get you the votes to stay, but I'm gonna need you to promise that you'll like put up Ian or somebody outside of their group if you win HOH. This is ridiculous. Why would Day actually follow through with some bullshit like that? I mean, really. So Memphis is saying, like, I just want to make sure that 2 people from the committee are not up together, because if it's only one, we'll have the votes to save that person. Okay. So then Bailey was talking to David in the photo bedroom, and she's like, all right, last night I was talking to Enzo, Kevin, and Day, and I told them we're going to all need to get together and chat before Thursday and figure out which way this vote is going. She says everyone's going to need to vote the same way so that the other side can't have a split vote like they want. So Bailey's trying to look out for everybody. She's like, I appreciate that you're like wanting to vote for me or whatever, but she knows that the votes are not there for her to stay at this point. So she's thinking like, just vote for Davon to stay. She's totally for it. And she wants to make sure that her friends are not going to be on the wrong side of the vote. Because that's like an easy reason to target someone, right? So then Bailey is saying, whichever one of us stays, me or Davon, our group, we need to start making moves against this big alliance, or else nothing's going to change. It's going to be a war. And that's great. Someone outside of the big alliance needs to win HOH for that to happen. We'll see if it finally happens this week. It would be super exciting. Who knows? So Bailey says, honestly, like, I feel sorry for Christmas. And David says, yeah, she got set up. The other side is using her. They're trying to pit her against you and Davon. And they don't realize that Christmas has been with the committee this whole entire time. But if you remember, Dani and Nicole were pushing with her for weeks to put up Bailey and Davon when they were really just trying to work with Christmas. So it was not a good move for Christmas's game. But anyway, David says Christmas has to realize how low she is in the hierarchy of that group. She's like 6th at best. And then Bailey is saying, yeah, they used her as a sacrifice and a distraction. And David says he's been planting seeds to get Christmas to realize that. He's been telling her things like, look, at 3 of you, like you, Bailey, and Davon, you're the ones crying right now. And everybody else is like laughing and having a good time. They are laughing at your move. So you need to pay attention to that. He's been trying to like do more, which is nice. And I feel like he's been doing an okay job so far this week. And I hope this is a sign of good things to come from David. We'll see. So then Bailey talks about how she feels like this has been a plot from the beginning to get rid of her. She says, I've been sabotaged this whole time, which I feel like is a stretch. Bailey, well, I think that like she kind of got screwed over here by Christmas when she was genuinely trying to work with her. Bailey's got to realize she and Davon made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, I would say maybe the only people that have like sabotaged her from the beginning here is like casting. But anyway, Bailey says that she and Day are going to be sitting down and downloading all of their information to each other on Wednesday. That's today. And she tells David, we have a lot of information gathered. We can piece things together. You haven't been doing this all along? I really hope she just means like they're going to get it all out there at the same time, because like they should have been doing this all along. But anyway, David says, Bailey, you need to go and talk to Tyler. He's still thinking that maybe the votes could be flipped here. He tells her, go talk to Tyler, shed some tears, tell him you love him, tell him you love him, tell him you love him. She says it like 3 times, and Bailey's like, stop repeating that. That makes her very uncomfortable. David apologizes. He says, you know what? Tyler's really good at manipulating like that, so you need to turn it back around on him. Tell him how glad you are that he didn't leave. And he says, I feel like this could work because he's not going to expect that from you. That's not going to work. He says, you don't have to mean that in your heart, but if you can mean it as an actor, then maybe it could work. So Bailey's like, I've had conversations with Tyler like that before. they get emotional and they like cry together and it feels genuine, but Tyler's playing the game. So she doesn't see it working. Okay, so then later, the Houseguest participated in a fake game show, and it was all hosted by Devon. She was doing a great job. She makes a great MC, and basically, it seems like this was supposed to be some sort of segment for the show to go along with Nicole's punishment of wearing the Sloppies costume, and yeah, basically they split themselves up into two teams, and each team had 5 minutes to come up with a jingle and a commercial for Sloppies. So just real quick, the first team up was Team Slop Monsters. So we had David, Bailey, Ian, Kevin, and Memphis. And they were talking about it like hurting their asses, which was pretty funny. And then Team Shady went. That was Christmas, Dani, Enzo, and Cody. And it was something about feeling groggy. Like, it didn't feel very cohesive or like jingly. And I know you guys are going to be like, oh, you're so biased against that group, blah, blah, blah. No, their jingles sucked. And they acknowledged that. So Tyler was the judge for this, and he picked Team Slot Monsters as the winners, but that was not the end of it. Tyler then went and joined Team Shady for the next part, and it was an obstacle course. So to start this out, everybody had to take a shot of beet juice, and I think they ate a beet each as well. So then it was like a relay race where they had to pass along this lime that they were carrying on a spoon. And originally they were going to use eggs, and then they're like, whoa, we have 1 carton of eggs left. That's got to last until Friday when we get restocked. So let's not do eggs. Let's go with the limes. So each person had to complete a different station on the course. So one station was like, you had to spin around as somebody like wrapped you in toilet paper. Somebody had to eat 7 flaming hot Doritos. Somebody had to find an olive in a bunch of yogurt with their face. Somebody had to bob for an apple. And then the last person had to toss beanbags into the cornhole thingy. So Team Shady ended up winning the obstacle course. So again, that was Christmas, Dani, Enzo, Cody, and Tyler. And if you just look at the team breakdowns here, it's just like charades, man. These people are showing like who's working together. Oh my god. Not as bad as that one time they played charades though, and the teams were like super obvious. But anyway, I think it was really nice that they had some fun for a while. Even if this was something that production put together to do like a segment on the show, it was nice to see them all laughing and enjoying each other after the brutalness of yesterday. So I'm glad that they had that time together. And as a viewer, even, it was just really nice to see them just like chill out. Okay, so then Day and David were chatting in the comic bedroom, and Day asks him, do you know which way the house is leaning? And he said, I think it's leaning towards you staying, which is true. So Day is like, all right, well, again, whichever one of us stays, me or Bailey, our group needs to solidify something with Enzo. So she's talking about like either Day or Bailey, David, Kevin, and now they want to try and pull in Enzo. But they don't realize how deep Enzo is in with the other group. Ah! So David has been talking all day about how this morning he saw Cody, Nicole, Ian, and Dani having a meeting in the lounge, and he said they all left like one at a time after. I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about. I don't think it was like important because I didn't see it in any updates on like any website that I use. So yeah, I don't know. But Ian is not in the core. There is a 4-person alliance between Cody, Nicole, Ian, and Dani. It's called 4 Prime or whatever. But technically, Ian is not in that core group. But now David is convinced that he is. So David says, I'm trying to sway people to take a shot at that group. I've been planting seeds. I've been working on it. So then David tells Devon, I'm going to be upfront with you. I campaigned to Tyler for Bailey. And he says he's testing Tyler to see if the information gets back to Devon. Not that Tyler would just go straight to Day, but that Tyler would go back to the big group, and that would get back to Day because they're trying to like cause friction between her and David, just like what happened in week 2 when David was up on the block and they told him, yo, Day's trying to flip the votes against you. Also, I'm pretty sure David just wants Bailey to stay, but he didn't want to get caught if this information does get back to Day, so he's trying to get ahead of it. But I think it's pretty smart to frame this as like, I'm testing Tyler. I think he was actually doing both. He wanted to campaign for Bailey, but he was also like, let me see if this information gets around. Okay, so then like 10 minutes later, David is talking to the cameras in the lounge, and he's like, oh, I'm having so much fun playing this game, even though I have no idea what's going on. But he says he feels like he does. And he says, I want to do something about it. He is trying to see who is working with who at this point. He thinks that the core 4 is Ian, Nicole, Cody, and Dani. And again, that's actually 4 prime. But it's fun people keep saying like the core 4 because that is the name of an actual alliance this season. That one is Nicole, Dani, Cody, and Enzo. So he's really close there. But he's also not sure where Tyler falls into this whole situation. So he's saying like this core group just wants everyone else to take shots at each other while they sit back. So David says if he wins HOH, he would not take a shot at Memphis. What? So this whole time he's been saying like, I'm going to get my revenge. Like I'm going to take a shot at Memphis. And we're all thinking like, that doesn't matter. But now he's finally waking up and he's saying it would be pointless at this point. I'm just going to go and put people up from the core. Can you imagine if David does win and he's like, I'm going for the core, and he puts up Ian? Oh no. So hopefully it won't be Ian, but we'll see what happens. So then Dani and Nicole have a game chat in the key bedroom, and Dani is pissed that Tyler lied to her. She's like, Tyler told me that he would tell Bailey and Davon that he was lying about me targeting them. And now Day is telling me that Tyler just reinforced it with them and said that I was coming after them. She was. So Dani says that Tyler has until Thursday to tell Bailey and Davon that he was lying. And if not, she's targeting him. She says, I don't have patience for that crap. So Dani is not sure who she would use as a pawn. She's also not sure if they would have the votes to get Tyler out if she were to put him up on the block. And Nicole's like, no, I don't think we would. So Dani is like, well, I would have to go to Cody and tell him you will lose to Tyler if you don't vote him out. And I'll also tell him he's not on my team anymore. Oh no. Honestly, Cody probably would be pretty upset about that. So then Dani is telling Nicole, we really need to start studying the days and the events of the season because those competitions are going to start popping up soon. I feel like they've been doing those comps less and less over the years, and it's really frustrating because it just seems like so many of the competitions now hinge on like athleticism, and it's just not fair to the non-athletic people. But anyway, they haven't studied it all yet. They have no idea what happened on what day. And Nicole is like, yeah, we'll start studying tomorrow. Okay. So then they're talking about how awkward it is with Christmas right now. They've been trying to keep their distance from her because they don't want to be associated with her. Ooh, okay. Guess what? Christmas is going to show up in a little bit. But anyway, Dani is then saying she suspects that Cody has a final 2 deal with Enzo, which is correct. She says, if it's not with me, it's got to be with somebody else. And Nicole's like, yeah, Enzo and Cody are like brothers. They would never, ever, 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 ever turn on each other. So Dani's like, well, if it's still like that towards the end, I'm going to pound it into Cody's head that he will not beat Enzo, just like he didn't beat Derek. Do you guys think that Cody would care about that, though? Or do you think, because I've heard him say so many times that he would just go to the end with Derek if he could do it all again. So, like, do you think he would do the same thing with Enzo? I feel like he might. So then Nicole starts talking about Ian, and she says, I did not want him on the jury because we had this really weird conversation. He said that he would feel selfish letting someone win twice, like voting for another winner to win again. And Nicole's wondering, like, why is he here then, if that's how he feels? And I'm supposed to feel selfish because I want to win again. So she says if Ian's in the final two, she's not going to give him her vote just because of that conversation. Damn. So she says, that's so mean to say to me. She says, the only other person that would be in that situation is me. Like, why are you making me feel like crap right now? So then they start talking about how Ian gives them anxiety. He says all these things that are so weird. And Dani says that Memphis brought up Ian's rocking the other day. And she's like, I don't want to agree and be mean because Memphis is mean sometimes. Yes, Dani. Nobody else here is mean sometimes. And also I just want to say, I do remember seeing a clip of Memphis talking about Ian's rocking and basically like making fun of it. And they were all like laughing along with him. And I didn't see where it was on the feeds. I saw that separately on Twitter. So I'm not sure exactly when that happened, but I did see the clip that she was referring to. So Dani says when Ian is rocking, she can't even look at him sometimes because his constant movement stresses her out. And Nicole agrees. Wow, sorry that Ian's autism stresses you out. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Would you take 1 second to think how Ian feels in this situation? You already know how difficult this game is, having played it multiple times. Imagine playing that on the autism spectrum when you have a hard time like picking up social cues and like relating to people. And Ian has talked before this season about being self-conscious about his rocking. And I just can't believe that I'm even hearing this conversation. It's so messed up. So Nicole is saying that she hasn't been as close to Ian since the bullhorn incident. She doesn't even know who he's targeting at this point. Is Ian going to be her new Bailey now that Bailey's leaving? I mean, really. So then Christmas joins them. They have some random kind of like awkward chatter. And then Dani asks if Christmas has talked to Bay and Day at all since the fight. And Christmas says they won't even look at me. It's not my place to approach them. They're being passive aggressive with me. So Christmas says, okay, I know I should have removed myself from the situation last night before I got to that level. She says, I haven't gotten there in a long time. Okay. So then Christmas asks if Day has talked to either of them about the Girls Alliance. I think it's safe to say that that's like not happening. So Dani and Nicole lie to Christmas, and Dani's like, oh, Day was just talking to me about how she was upset about how everything went down. And Nicole was like, I barely talked to her. But the truth is that Day already checked in with Dani and Nicole and told both of them she still wants to work with them, but not with Christmas. Blah. Okay, so then Christmas is going through her explanation again, and why she put them up on the block, why she didn't use the power veto. And she says that her move is now trying to be pushed into something it's not. She says the accusation alone, and then the feed switch. She's worried that this is now going to become like a race issue, or it's going to be perceived as a race issue. So she's freaking out about that. So when the feeds come back, Dani is asking, what did Tyler say to you? Did Tyler tell you that he wanted you to put him up on the block? And Christmas confirms he did. And she told him, fine, that's great, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to disrespect the game. Find another way. Which I think is like a perfectly fine, acceptable explanation. You shouldn't have to put somebody up on the block because they want to leave. But the situation was mishandled. And I think Tyler played a huge role in that. Why would Tyler not talk to Christmas about it first? Why would he go to Day and Bay and give them false hope when he didn't even know if this was going to go down? So he really messed up there. But also Christmas not being forthcoming with what she was going to do when she, I'm pretty sure, had like no intention of putting Tyler up on the block this week as a replacement. So Christmas also said, like, yeah, I couldn't have both Bailey and Davon staying in the house this week. Both of them mad at me. No way. So, like, that's a bigger reason that she didn't want to make that move. So then Dani was like, oh yeah, Tyler came to me and he was talking all about how he was self-sabotaging, blah, 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 telling Bailey and Davon that I was targeting them. And he tried to leave multiple times. So, like, clearly he really does want to go. And Christmas is like, that's fine, but it's not my responsibility to do that. So then Christmas was talking about how she's worried that Bailey is going to rake her over the coals on the outside. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like Bailey's got a lot going on in her real life to be, like, excited about. I don't know if she's gonna bother with this. But anyway, they're also wondering if Tyler wanting to quit is a storyline on the show. We haven't seen him pop up yet. And apparently he's tried to quit, like, multiple times now. But I'm really curious if they're going to be showing this week. I don't think it would be on tonight's episode. I think it would be, oh wait, yeah, it would be, because it happened before the Power Veto ceremony. So yeah, we should know today if that's going to be popping up or not. The fight will probably be on tomorrow's, but we should know today if Tyler's whole thing is going to be on there. Yeah, I don't know if they're just going to completely ignore it or they're going to include it. It'll be really interesting. So Dani leaves. It's just Nicole and Christmas at this point. And Nicole asks Christmas, are you going to try and mend things with Day? And Christmas says, I have to sit on that. Nicole says, I think it would be really stupid for you guys to go after each other. And Christmas says, no, I don't want to go after Davon. Okay. So later, it was a somber night in the Big Brother house. Unfortunately, Cody found out in the diary room that his grandfather passed away. It was so sad. And my heart goes out to his family. That's such an awful situation, especially to be in the Big Brother house and just be, like, isolated from your family like that. That's terrible. So I feel so bad for him. So Cody says his grandfather was sick for a while. He had cancer. And he was hoping that he was going to make it through the summer, but unfortunately, he did not. So that's super, super sad. So this information kind of, like, filters through the house. Tyler lets some people know, and everybody was stopping by in the key bedroom to offer their condolences to Cody and try and comfort him. Honestly, I wish Big Brother would have just let him have some privacy, but it seemed like there was, like, always a camera on Cody after that. Like, give him a chance to just grieve on his own. My God. So anyway, most of the house guests went to bed pretty early. It hit a lot of them really hard. I think it got them all thinking about real life. And this is a tough season also because of everything that's going on the outside, like coronavirus and all the political unrest. So everybody's worried about that stuff. And I think it just, like, came back when they got this news from the outside world. So Davon talked to the cameras in the lounge, and we got a little insight into her gameplay moving forward. So Day says, I want you all to know this girls' alliance that I set up is BS. She says, I'm making nice with everyone at this point so I can stay in the game. But she says, moving forward, I got to win. I got to make some moves. And she says at this point, the people that she trusts the most, surprisingly, Nicole, what? Kevin, Enzo. She says she wants to trust David, but she doesn't know if she can. She also says that she knows that Christmas has a power because she was next to the podium when that piece was placed into the podium. And she is so freaking smart because she elbowed the people around her so that she could hear their voices, and she heard Christmas. So, like, she knows that Christmas was the one that put the piece into the podium. Damn, that is so smart. So Day says if she wins HOH, she is going to nominate Christmas and Tyler. She wants to flush out Christmas's power, and if one of them comes down off the block, put up a bigger target. Who? She doesn't name who the bigger target is, but woo, she is ready to make some big moves here. And she says, I know it's going to put a big target on my back, but I can't play scared. This is All Stars. I got to make some moves here. So this morning, Christmas asked Davon to chat. And Christmas says, I'm upholding my promise to you. I don't want you to think that changed just because of the other night. So if you still want to be here, you have the votes. And Devon says, okay, thank you for that. I do still want to be here. She says, there's a lot of game left to play. Thank you for sticking to your word. I really appreciate that. So Christmas says, I wanted to give you your space after everything that went down. And Christmas apologizes for not shutting down their conversation earlier. And she, allowed herself to elevate. And she says, I'm sorry that I raised my voice at you. I'm going to own that. And Day says, I apologize for raising my voice too. It got out of control. Alcohol was involved. Day says they're good. No worries. Are they good? We'll see. We'll see. But it's nice that they're opening up the lines of communication again and talking. So then Day went and campaigned to Memphis in the lounge. And Memphis was like, all right, this is a business deal. He said, I'll give you my vote, but I need something in return. Now remember, when Memphis was planning things out with Cody, Christmas, and Nicole, he was like, I need to, we need to see if we can get Day to agree to put somebody else up on the block. Like, we need to get something out of voting for her to stay. So, yeah. Memphis tells her, I'm the lone wolf in this house. Oh! So he says, I don't need anything, but I do need help with one thing, and I think you can help me with that. So he does need something. He says, the only person that I think would be coming after me next week is David. Not even at this point. We know that David does not want to target Memphis. So anyway, Memphis is still under the impression that he would. So he says, if David wins HOH, I need you to go to bat for me. So then the feeds cut for a lot of this conversation, which was kind of annoying. That's been happening a lot lately. But it's interesting because Memphis was saying in the conversation earlier that they were going to try and get Devon to say she would put up Ian on the block. But now he's asking Devon to help protect him if David wins HOH, which is like a completely different thing he's asking for here. So that's pretty interesting. But anyway, when the feeds come back, they're talking about how they think that Ian might have won a power the other day because he's been acting different the last few days and they don't know why. So eventually Memphis circles back around to the David thing. And Day says, yeah, I've already been working on that. I need you in this game. So you got it. Okay, so the eviction is tomorrow. As of right now, Devon has the votes to stay. And Bailey's cool with it. She's already telling her allies, look, like, don't vote for me to stay. If you can see that the votes are there for Devon to stay and that's what's happening, you should vote for her to stay because I don't need her like being unsure of you because you didn't vote for her, and I don't need you becoming a target by voting for me. So yeah, unless something drastic happens, it looks like hello. Devon will be staying tomorrow. Manny, come on.
Yay!
Oh, 2 puppies. Okay, so I want to thank all of you for watching today. And I want to thank all of our super chatters as well because you guys are amazing. So thank you to Jefferson Tucker. Thank you so much. Sloan Meister, thank you so much. So generous. Traval K, thank you so much. Jody Cortez, thank you so much. Mike Ames, thank you so much. Ashley Barnett, thank you so much. Hoth1, thank you so much. Is it Tulips? 327, thank you so much. And M. Murray COJ, thank you so much.
It's like the all-star chat.
I know,
all-star
right?
Super chatters.
You guys are so awesome. There's a little playtime going on over there. So seriously,
somebody's
guys.
gonna Rennie.
Yeah, you better not.
Yeah.
Thank you all. We got an episode tonight. It'll be interesting to see what is in it. I don't know.
What is not?
Yeah, what is not in it. But make sure you check out our episode chat later.
Yes.
Right, Bobo? All right. So we'll see all of you next time. And until then, much love.